Hello, and welcome back to the My First Marathon podcast, where we interview runners in all stages of their running careers about their first marathon experiences to prove to you that anyone can run a marathon. My name is Taylor, and today's guest journey to the marathon didn't start with speed or strength or even a love of running. In fact, she didn't consider herself athletic at all. But somewhere between navigating injuries, learning how to actually fuel and train, and tackling the mental ups and downs that come with putting one foot in front of the other, this runner found her stride. Her first half marathon gave her a taste of what was possible, but her first marathon changed everything. From race day nerves and hitting the wall at mile 21 to the emotional finish line moment and what it taught her about resilience, this is a story about proving yourself wrong in the best way possible. So, if you've ever doubted whether you're made for this sport or questioned if you're ready for the start line, let this runner's story be your reminder that you're already further than you think. Without further ado, let's get into it. Please welcome Emily. Emily, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited to have you. We were just chatting. It's been a long time coming having you on the podcast. So I'm very excited to finally get a chance to hear your story. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Of course.
Nerding out a little bit right now.
Of course. I'm so glad we got a chance to connect. All right, cool. Well, let's start from the beginning. How did you, I know your running journey kind of started, stopped, it's been in pieces. So walk us through how your journey started and how you got to your first marathon.
Yeah. So I've always been active as a kid growing up, but to me, being active didn't mean I was athletic. So I played a lot of sports. I did basketball, I played volleyball, I played soccer. So I was active, but I was never good at those sports.
Sure.
My dad, this is a really funny story from growing up. He and I don't know what this says about me as a kid, but during a soccer game, I was never like an aggressive player. I wasn't confident, like, yeah, I'm going to go out and get the ball and score a goal. He said, I'll give you $1 for every goal you score. And I scored 8 goals in that game.
Oh, love. Money motivation. It does it for us sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But like, I wasn't gifted at athletics. On the basketball team, I remember in middle school, I got the ball and then I started running towards the basketball hoop because there was no one in front of it. Well, there was no one in front of it because it was the wrong hoop. And I shot the ball. And this was a good thing that I was bad because I missed.
Yeah,
and I remember
right.
like shooting the ball like, oh no, like I actually hope I don't make this one now.
So funny.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
then in high school, I did the tennis team. I know Vicky from Train Smart Run Strong. She played tennis a lot. And so when I heard her story, I was like, oh my gosh, we play tennis too. I was not nearly like as good as she was, or like I didn't play to the degree that she did. But
Sure.
I did it because my friends were doing it. And I wanted it to look good on college applications. Like I wanted to be the well-rounded student who was in clubs and did well in school and then played sports. But I was last on the team and I was just not that you could tell I was there like just to have fun, but I wasn't good.
Yeah.
Do you know how the tennis racket, like you have, I'm going to butcher the parts of the racket. You have like the net, you have the handle, and then there's like a triangle space in the middle.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not a huge space, but I was so bad that when I would swing the racket, the ball would get stuck in that little triangle.
Oh my gosh.
And it would be a moment of like, where did the ball go? It's a little tiny hole that you're not supposed to get anything in there.
Oh my gosh.
So I never thought I was athletic and never thought of myself in that way, but I always wanted to be. Like I was active, but I just didn't see myself as an athlete. And another side of that too was that I was and still am injury prone. I actually have something going on with my toe now that my shins are good. My toe is giving me some issues.
It's always something, yeah.
It is. I just told my husband that this morning as I'm taping my toe before I went for my run. I was like, my shins are good now, but now my toe is acting up.
Yeah, just move. Don't worry about it.
It did. But like at a basketball camp, I literally broke my foot just walking across the basketball court.
Oh my
I don't even
gosh.
think I had a basketball in my hand. Like my mom said, I was looking at you. I looked away and then I looked back and you were like on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just not athletic. I did run, like thinking about it, I actually ran pretty frequently growing up. We would do 5Ks just for fun on the weekend. Like we would register a few days prior and then I'd wake up, maybe jog down the sidewalk for a warm up and then we would do the race. Like I can't imagine not doing that kind of warm up now, because if I did like a 30-second warm up, I would be so much more injured than I already am. But I did decently well as a kid running in those races. There was one instance I remember I got some sort of reward. but I'm almost positive I was the only one in my age group.
Oh,
So
that's okay. Hey, it counts.
it
It
still
counts.
counted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still counted in my book. But then like moving on from that, I would run like on and off. Did it mostly because it was a good workout for me. And I would do it because it made me feel like I got the best workout. I felt like there was a weight loss component to it too. I felt like I was burning the most calories. And I feel like that's kind of common growing up, or like people run, is that it's for weight loss. And there's
Sure.
nothing wrong with that, but that was what I was doing as well at the time. So I've always been kind of a runner, just not a serious runner until about 2022. And then backing up a little bit more, I actually grew up in Florida.
Hmm.
So I moved to Tennessee when I was 21.
Okay.
And then my sister and my best friend, they really got me into like going to the gym and like doing weights and lifting. And I would do cardio on the side too, but like that really helped cement fitness into my routine.
Yeah.
And so that just got me used to like, okay, I want to be working out. I want to be healthy. I want to be active. And I thank them for that now, because it's so ingrained in me that I love working out.
Totally.
I love going for a run.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's come up in like different ways. I feel like in other stories, but just having people around you that are just like influencing you, for lack of a
Hmm.
better word, that they're not forcing you to go. They might be like strongly encouraging you to go with them, but like just having a few people around you that are showing you a good example. I had a similar story. My boyfriend decided, like when we moved out to North Carolina, to
Hmm.
join a rock climbing gym, and I just saw him doing that, and so him going to lifting classes, and like by proxy I ended up going. So I do think it takes sometimes like a little nudge by your community to start to get into a routine, for sure.
I agree. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that they did it then, because now it is part of my routine, 7 or 8. Oh gosh, I'm about to turn 30. So I guess, 9 years later.
Yeah, it's still with you. I love that.
Mhm. And then back in 2022, so what was kind of like the turning point for me was one of the workout apps I was using. It's called Pretty Muscles by Erin
Mm,
Opria. I have to shout her out. She is so positive, and like I love the app. You can do everything at home, and she's pretty much just like, you can do whatever you set your mind to. Like, you can do this. She did a workout challenge as part of the app, and there was $1,000 cash prize.
there
So
we go.
jumping
Money's
back to
coming
me,
back. Yeah.
exactly.
Love it.
So I was like, okay, I know we're going to be moving. We're going to need a deposit for the apartment that we're getting. So I need to like really commit myself and make sure that I am one of the people that win this, so we can get $1,000 prize. And that, just like the soccer game, got my butt in gear, and I ended up losing 13 pounds.
Wow.
And so at the end of the challenge, I felt the healthiest I had ever been. And I was ready. Like, I want to do something more with running. I can tell that I still love it. I'm doing well at it. I want to do more than just like a 3 mile run, which a 3 mile run is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
the
for
fact that I
sure.
was even like, yeah, I want to do more than that was, I was impressed by. So that was kind of what kicked it off. And then I started looking for races that were somewhat nearby where we live. And there was one that was like right in the town that we were going to be at. But I ended up pulling something like in my groin, like right where your leg
Mm,
attaches to your body. And there were
yeah.
several days I couldn't even pick my leg up. And
Mm,
so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to push back the original date of October. And October is when I started training. I didn't want to risk any injury with
sure.
how injury prone I am. So I ended up picking a half marathon that was in Florida. And I figured, I know Florida's flat. It's hot. It's really, really hot. But
Yeah.
Florida's flat. And my parents were like, an hour away from the race location. This would be perfect to drive down there, make a weekend of it, and then do my first half.
Cool. So yeah, so you went straight from running like 5Ks to running a half marathon. You didn't run like a 10K or anything that like that in between, did you?
No, I didn't. I
I love it.
full sent it.
No, I love it. I just wanted to clarify, but yeah, no, I think it's great. I think as long as you give yourself enough time, you can kind of put your mind to anything, even from the beginning. So that's great.
Mhm.
How were you starting to piece together training? Like, what were you thinking in terms of, like you said, your 5K? You were just kind of like, oh, well, I'll just go out and do it. So what were
Mhm.
you thinking in terms of like structured training plan, if you were thinking that, or how were you going to tackle the whole thing?
I ended up just Googling a half marathon plan, and I
Yeah.
found one from runnersworld.com.
Hmm.
And I can't remember if it was a time goal or if it was just like, here's a beginner plan for 12 weeks, have at it. Actually, I remember I did two plans from Runner's World. I did a 5K beginner because I had taken some time off. And I didn't want to just jump right into half marathon training. I wanted to make sure I took it slow. I wasn't
Yeah.
overloading my shins because my shins have always been kind of a pain point for me, pun intended. Um, but so I picked that, like, I think it was a maybe 5 or 6 week program. And then after I completed that, then I jumped into, it was a 12-week program. So I gave
Cool.
myself like 5 months total to train for my first half.
Great. No, I think that's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, more time the better. How was
Yeah.
your body feeling? I know being injury prone I'm sure is frustrating, and I'm sure that comes with a variety of things. But how were you feeling at that time, like with your body, with how you're progressing through training, and all that good stuff?
I felt pretty good actually. Thankfully I took the time off that I needed, so that way my groin was fixed, like I was good to go. I
Nice.
ended up getting, this was what prompted me to get my first official pair of running shoes, because I heard that you need good shoes. Like if there's anything that you spend your money on, make it your shoes.
So true.
And yes, 10 out of 10 agree. So I got the Brooks Ghost 14s, I think they were. And I love Brooks. I know we'll talk about that later, but I'm a
Yeah.
Brooks girly through and through.
Me too.
Yes. But I started going through the plans and was feeling good, wasn't dealing with any injuries. And it was cool as I was progressing, because the most I had ever run would be like 3 miles, a 5K. And then to be hitting these distances, 5, 6, 7, 11 mile long runs on the weekend was just really, it was really cool. As someone who never felt like, oh, I'm an athlete, like I really and truly believe that, it was starting, like the wheels were starting to turn, like, okay, I'm more capable than I've ever thought I am. And like, who goes out for a 5 mile run on a Wednesday after work? Like,
Right.
that's what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's
It
just real.
changes like your perspective on yourself
It
too, I feel like a
does.
lot. You're like, I just accomplished this great thing on just casually, like not something that I'm accomplishing like a finish line, but I just did this to do this. Like, yeah, I think your perspective
Exactly.
shifts a lot when you hit that point for sure.
It does. And I
Yeah.
remember hitting that last long run before the half. And then even the last run, like before the race in a couple of days, I was like, okay, my training block is done. Like, I feel good. Like, let's do this. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, great. I mean, that's a good feeling to have. Did you have any sort of like taper where you ended up like dipping in mileage beforehand, and how did all that feel?
I tapered for about 2 weeks, and
Okay.
then I love taper time for any race, because I just, I don't want to say I'm lazy at heart, but it's like, oh, I don't have to run 12 miles to, like, I can do 7 and it still counts.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's I always joke that there's like two categories of people when I ask that question. It's the
Mhm.
people who love the taper period and feel refreshed and like, oh, so much pressure is off me. And then there's people who are
Mhm.
like that I hate it and I'm losing my mind and like I need to start running again. So, no, it makes
Yes.
sense.
Mhm.
Well, cool. So yeah, walk us through the race. So we got to the start line. Obviously, this is your first like
Mhm.
big start line that you're doing for yourself in this
Yes.
new age of you running. So like, yeah, how did it feel? How did it go? Walk us through that experience.
It was really exciting. I say I woke up at like 3 or 3:30 that morning, and I try to give my husband enough time, like, okay, we don't have to leave till 5, so you can like wake up at 4:30. But we woke up super early, drove over there, and just seeing everyone, like, the atmosphere is really exciting. You don't know like whose first marathon or first half marathon this is, but it was mine. I was just trying to take everything in,
Yeah.
and it it started off really well. It was really humid that day, and I hadn't really done any research on like great types of fabric to wear. So I was wearing full length leggings, a
Mm.
cotton t-shirt. I was dying of sweat. Like you can see in my pictures, it's just I'm like dripping with sweat.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. The only like suggestion I would give to runners is always make sure that your headphones are on the be aware setting. I
Mm.
say that because I'm also really bad. Like I'll look at the course map before I go to a race, but I don't ever memorize it because I
Yeah.
figure, oh, I'm not going to be, the first runner there. I'm just going to follow the rest of the crowd. Like
Yeah.
they're not going to steer me wrong. Well, they had the 10K and the half marathon running at the same time. And we, this makes me sound really dumb, and I'm okay with that. I did not see the half marathon arrow that was pointing to the left. And I had my headphones on, music was playing, and I'm running by and I see a spectator. He's like waving at me and then pointing. And I was just like really in my head. And so I thought,
Yeah.
he can't be waving to me. Like, so I just kind of waved, like, hey, like, I don't know if you're waving to me, but I'm going to be friendly and say hi anyway. And I keep going. And then my husband, Zach, he comes and meets me. And I'm like, I can't talk right now. I can't stop. He goes, you are going the wrong way. Like, you need to turn around.
Oh my gosh, no. Did your stomach just like sink?
It did. Cause I was like 3 minutes into like the wrong
Oh,
direction. I was like, oh man, like I
brutal.
don't have a time goal, but this is 3 minutes I didn't need to waste on going the wrong direction. And
Right,
I'm going to end up
right.
running more than a half marathon now.
Right, right. Yeah. Did that shake you at all mentally? Like I for maybe your third, fourth, fifth half marathon, you'd be like, God, like whatever, that was a silly
hmm
mistake. But for your first one, like did that rock you at all? Did it distract you or were you able to get right back on track?
It rocked me for a little bit because I thought, okay,
Hmm.
I need to now run the other direction, find the direction that I was supposed to go in that I missed. Like, and I was thinking, what if I can't find it? What if I'm wandering around? Like, what do I
Yeah.
do? I start to spiral and panic and think, oh my gosh, what do I need to do next? But once I went back, I saw the sign and I thought, okay, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to go. It's very clearly marked. I'm just not an observant person. So that was my bad.
It's easy to go internal, like especially mid
hmm
race. I like what you said about the headphones having it in like aware mode because it is really easy to
hmm
just be in your own head. I could totally see any runner making that mistake. So I'm sure it's not just you.
Even if it is, everyone learn from me. Or if it's not on the be aware setting, have one headphone out.
Sure. Yeah.
Something similar just so you can know your surroundings, know where you're at.
Totally. Totally. Cool. Yeah. So how did we end up from there? So you got back on track. You were back on pace. Where did we go from
hmm
there?
From there, the rest of the run went smoothly until mile 10. Like
Okay.
I was taking walk breaks when I needed to, but I hit mile 10 and I was really tired. The humidity, I was really sweaty. I You actually made a post about the little Spy Belt water bottles the other day, and I
Yeah.
just burst out laughing because that was the water I had for a half marathon. 8 ounces
Uh,
of water in a very humid environment.
yes.
Not a good idea.
Yes. Yes.
And so I was definitely walking a lot more. There's a picture that Zach took of me where I'm smiling, but I'm just like, oh, like I'm tired. I still have 3 more miles to go.
Yeah.
But I just did a lot of like running and walking and I finished it. I was very tired, but I did it. I was like, I'm not gonna not finish this. I know I can do it. Like I've run in the Florida heat before. I did this growing up. I'm not gonna let this stop me. And so I powered through and it was a 2:44 something finish. And
Great.
I didn't have a time that I was really shooting for. I just wanted to finish. Subconsciously, I was hoping for under 3, but I had no idea how the race was going to go. And so when I crossed the finish line, I was so proud. I was so happy. It's like I hit that, the goal that I didn't really have, but kind of had in the back of my mind. And I'm not a big crier, but I almost cried at the end of the race. And I was like, okay, no, I don't want to cry right now. Part of me kind of felt like I was super proud that I had done the race, but there was still a part of me that was like, I feel like this is really slow. Like, I don't feel like
Mm,
I can be like, yeah, I ran a half marathon. I'm a runner. It was like, okay, yeah, you did it, but you can do better. You took a wrong turn. I just had that kind of lingering feeling of I'm not quite satisfied with this.
yeah.
But it was more in the back of my mind. And really, I was happy. And the rest of the day was great. We celebrated, and my parents were proud. And that it was a good way to end the day. But I
Totally.
didn't do another half marathon until later that year.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is kind of where we went from there. So I think that I'm glad you brought it up because I think that experience is one that a lot of people have for their first race of feeling like you just accomplished something awesome. Not very many people can run 13.1 miles, you know what I mean? But you still feel
Right.
like maybe I didn't do it to the best of my ability or maybe I'm slow, maybe I'm not a runner is like you said. So yeah,
Mhm.
it can be kind of frustrating in the beginning when you just don't know what you don't know and you're just comparing yourself to the people around you. It's frustrating. So, yeah, how did
Mhm.
you reframe that or how did you like grow from that or progress to, whatever came next?
I took a lot of time off. Like after the
Mhm.
race, I want to say I always give myself 2 weeks of no running now as a more experienced runner. But I want to say I took a month off after
Mhm.
that. And I stepped back, took a break, but then I had already gotten the bug. I was addicted. I was like, okay, I want to do that again because I know I can do better.
Yeah.
And ironically, the race that I did that October was the race I had originally wanted to do the year before, but couldn't because of my injury.
Mm.
And that one went a lot better. I got a 2:29, so I PR'd my time. I was
That's
super
great.
happy with that. Much better experience. And by that time, I had been practicing with fueling more. So I knew that actually, I think I still had that 8 ounce water bottle, but I was stopping at the aid stations a lot
Yeah.
more
Yeah, yeah.
and making sure I was fueling. And so I was definitely more experienced by that point, and I think that and the cooler weather were advantageous to me.
Helped a lot. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Cool.
Mhm.
Well, so you had your learning experience, and then you had your
Mhm.
experience where you're like, okay, the pieces are starting to come together. When did the marathon distance start to creep its way into your mind? Like when did you decide I'm just gonna send it and do the whole thing?
So it didn't come right away, but it came quickly when it did happen. In 2024, because 2023 was the first year like I started doing races.
Gotcha.
In 2024, I had just this random thought of I want to have a theme for my running this year, and I wanted it to be no regrets.
Mm,
And the reason I chose that was because I knew we were going to be moving that year because Zach was graduating from college. And I was like, I don't know what the future is going to hold. So if I see a race online, I think about like, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to sign up for it. Or if I look at it and think, if I don't do this, am I going to regret it? If the answer was yes, then I would sign up for it too.
I love that.
So I actually did 3 half marathons in less than 2 months.
Let's go. You
And
really
it was
sent it.
all, I did. It was so fun. I went back to the Orlando race because I wanted to redeem myself on that one. And then I signed up for the Publix Women's Half in Savannah
Okay.
and then the Nashville Rock and Roll. So they were all like started at the beginning of March to the end of April were when those 3 races were. And I had a blast traveling and getting to do those races. It was I really felt like I was living up to that theme of no regrets. And I vividly remember sitting on the lawn after the Publix race in Savannah, and that course was beautiful. Weather was perfect. It was a little chilly, but that is nice to me. I like to be a little chilly as
Yeah.
opposed to dripping in sweat.
Agree. Yeah.
Yes, I remember talking to another runner. We were just sitting on the grass and we were talking about, the half and would we ever do a marathon? And I was like, I'll never do a full marathon. The half is the perfect distance. And I still like the half more than the marathon
Yeah.
because it
Fair.
doesn't take as much time. Like you can go on like usually the easy runs on a half marathon plan for me are 5 miles at the most, maybe 5.5. For a marathon, you're looking at like 7 or 8. And
Yeah.
as a slower runner, that takes a lot more time. So I would be lying if I said I didn't want to run a 7-minute mile, but that's just because I want to get the runs done faster.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. But so I told her, yeah, I'm good. I don't have any intention of signing up for a full. And as I was driving out from Savannah the next day, leaving to go home, I was like, the weather here was really great. The course is really flat, just like Florida. It wasn't as humid. I think I'll come back next year and do this race again. I get an email maybe 5 days later, and their marketing team is fantastic. It said something like, why not make it a double? You just ran the half. And that darn theme came in of no regrets. And I thought, well, why not? I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the rest of it was, or the rest of what was pointing me towards the marathon was I knew I was going to be leaving my job. I knew that this was going to be the perfect time when I had the most time to dedicate to training because it does take me longer to do these, 7 or 8 mile runs.
Totally.
And I really felt like God was saying, if you want to do it, this is the perfect opportunity. Like it's up to you to sign up for it and take charge of it, but this is going to be the best time to do this. And I signed up for it. And I texted my family that night, like, do y'all want to come to Georgia in November? They're like, what?
You want to watch me suffer for like 5+
Yes.
hours in a few months? Mark
Be
the
fun, I
calendar.
promise.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, so yeah, so you signed up. I think that there is like points in your life where marathoning makes more sense. I hear a lot
Mhm.
of people that take the approach of like trying to fit the marathon into your current life and not always trying to fit your current life into the marathon. So when things line up like that, I think it's great.
Mhm.
How much time did you give yourself? Like from date that you signed up to date of the marathon, what was the time that you had to train?
I gave myself, so after I signed up for the marathon, I started training about 2 months later.
Okay.
And I gave myself plenty of time, kind of like training for my first half. I wanted to get a base built back up and then start really diving into these really long runs. And so I started about mid to late June, just starting with a base building program. And then I did a 12-week training plan it was a combination of, I want to say it was another Runner's World plan, and then the race plan that the race organizers had put out as well.
Mm, cool.
I'm not qualified in any sort of means to be combining plans and creating my own, so I don't really know why I tried to do that, but I did it to the best of my ability. And
Yeah,
there
at
were
least you didn't write
definitely
it from
runs that I
scratch.
skipped. Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah, no, I probably would not have gotten through the race if I did that.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I mean, when you're thinking about training for your first marathon, I do think that a lot of people will just take a plan and plop it onto themselves and just think that they have to stick to it. So I actually like that you were like combining and doing things that were best for you. Do you remember what some of those things were that you were like combining or changing, or like what you liked from one plan to the other plan? Do you remember any of that?
I remember that one of the reasons I picked the certain plan from the race organizers was because it looked the least scary in terms
Yeah,
of
fair enough.
workouts.
Totally. Yeah.
And the other ones seemed like they were really, this one was designed to pretty much fit into your life, but the other
Hmm.
ones just, they had workouts that I had never heard of before. I wasn't sure, even as someone who wasn't working at the time, I wasn't sure like how much time is this going to take? Am I going to be able to do
Right.
this? And so I picked the plan that was the least scary one for me.
Right, that's yeah, totally fine. So I'm imagining it's like it's just building mileage over every single weekend, have a
Mhm.
few like short runs during the week. Do you remember where it
Yeah.
peaked out? Like what was your longest run that you would have had on that plan?
Ooh, so the longest run scheduled was 22 miles.
Okay.
I only ended up running 20 miles of
Okay.
that, and that was a long day. What I did was I scheduled a half marathon that same day because I thought this will be a super fun way to get the miles in,
Yeah.
and it was. But my plan and what I ended up doing was I woke up at 1:30, went to the gym, ran 5 miles on the treadmill, went to the race, warmed up and ran like almost 2 miles, then ran the race. So I was super tired by the time the
Yeah.
race even started. And I remember seeing the sweepers, like they weren't that far behind me. And that just, I had never been in that position to where I was so close to getting swept up. And my
Yeah.
heart was just like tightening, like, oh my gosh, I might get swept off this course. I have to run faster, but I'm so tired. Like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can run any faster. And so by the end of that race, it ended up raining, and I found out how valuable the Body Glide stuff is because I didn't know my knees were chafing until it felt like
Mm.
acid was getting poured on
Oh
them.
no. No.
And so
Brutal.
by the end of the race, I was walking back to my car, and I told my husband, it's like, I can't run anymore today. I've hit 20. I'm good with that. Like, we'll
Oh,
see
so
how
your
it
plan
goes in
was
the
to run the
marathon
other two like after.
after.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a long day. That's
It
something I,
was.
I learned my lesson on too, for sure. Is like if you're gonna add additional mileage to a race, do it before because you're not you're
Yes.
not gonna want to do it after.
No.
Definitely learned that the hard way as well. But
Mhm.
okay, cool. So that was your 20-mile run.
Mhm.
When I'll ask this question and then I'll go back a little bit because I don't want to diminish like the rest of training. Obviously, there was a lot of training in there, but
Mhm.
for your 20-mile run, usually that's a big confidence boost, or it can kind of like get in your head a little bit depending on how it went. Since it was like a little bit, you did some miles in the morning, you ran the race, you were like heart rate went up from the sweeper. Were you having more of the experience of like, oh no, I don't know if I can run this marathon, or like how were you processing that, internally?
Yeah, and actually the run before that, I think was an 18 miler, and that was the
Hmm.
first long run that I hit where my knees started to give me issues, and
Mm,
I had done a 16 miler the weekend before, and it felt like I was kind of at like, okay, I can handle 15 miles, but my body's kind of hurting right now. When I did the 18 miler the next weekend, I ended up walking most of those last 2 miles
yeah.
because my joints, they hurt so bad. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because this is only 18 and my knees are hurting so badly. I don't know if I can get through this. And then at the end of that, well, the scheduled 22 miler day, but what ended up being the 20-mile day, they hurt so bad again. I remember going home and we filled up the tub. Zach dumped the ice into there, and then we got just one of those big bags of ice from the gas station. And I did an ice bath because I was at that point trying to just mitigate any injuries and make sure I could get through the race. So it was definitely not a confidence booster, and it really messed with my head. And it made me
Totally.
start to worry like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. Mentally, I can do it, but my body is what is, it feels like it's giving out.
Yeah.
So that was that was interesting to go through.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, and anybody that's gone through an injury can relate to that, I'm sure, of like feeling like
Mhm.
you're mentally ready to go. You feel like you're ready to run the marathon, but your body's preventing you to. It's just like an uncomfortable training spot to be in for sure.
Mhm.
Before we get to how you overcame that, what were some of the high points in training? Like what were some of the runs or the moments during your training for your first marathon where you did build some confidence or you did feel, good about the run?
I would say the 15 miler I did. So that was the first distance. That was over a half marathon. And I ran around our neighborhood, and it was several laps to get the 15 in. I'm sure my neighbors were looking out like, what is she doing? She keeps coming around. And at first it made me think, oh my gosh, I have to run 11.2 miles in addition to this. Like, how am I going to do it? But I felt good after that. And I thought, okay, this is like, I've never run this far before. And look, I'm doing it. And even those runs, like the 18 miler, 20 miler, the ones that were really hard, like it was still really cool to see, like, I'm still hitting these distances. I'm
Yeah.
still, I might not be running the whole thing, which is really hard to do. Kudos to the people that can, but like, I am getting through it. Like, I feel like I know mentally I can get through it. I need my body to hold up.
Right, right. Yeah, so I mean, there is a whole lot to say about training the mind and training the body. Your mind can get you through a
Mhm.
whole lot. So that's good that you were thinking that, I think. Um,
Mhm.
cool. So we'll fast forward again. We got through the 18 mile, we got through the 20 mile run. Now I imagine you're entering your taper period. You
Mhm.
already said that you love the taper period, but how are you
Do.
feeling? What was going through your head? Like you're get a chance to decompress. So what were you thinking leading
Mhm.
up to the marathon?
Well, injury prone me, I had a foot thing that started to come in
Mm,
really about a month or so before the marathon. And so I love the taper period because it was lesser mileage. I was able to pretty much like just bandage my foot together. I still don't even know what the injury was. It was something on the bottom of my foot.
mm,
I thought maybe my shoes were too big because my foot felt like it was sliding around.
mm,
So I got a smaller shoe size, tried that out. It helped for a little bit, but any run over like 5 miles, it was too small of a shoe. Like it was not the answer, the problem. But during taper time, I just made sure that whenever my foot was bothering me, that I would skip runs. Honestly, like I was really trying to like hobble myself together to get to the start line of the race. So I enjoy taper time, the lesser mileage. I felt like okay, this is giving my body a chance to recover, but at the same time, my foot was really starting to worry me.
mm.
And I even remember that the Wednesday before the race, because we were driving down to Georgia on Thursday, the Wednesday before, I felt great. And I was like, okay, taper time has worked. Like my body's finally pulled its stuff together and I'm going to go out for an easy run because it's on the plan. That went fine. I was not hurting at all that night, but I woke up on Thursday and I could barely stand on my foot.
Oh my gosh,
And
crazy.
I just thought it was it's such a mental mind game. I felt just like the worry just creep in, and I thought, I really and truly, I don't know if I can get through this. So I bandaged my foot up. We put crutches in the back of the truck that I borrowed from my sister in law because I was so determined. I wanted to do this race. I told Zach, I might need you to carry me, like, let me put my armor on your shoulders. But I put so many months of training into this, so many hours. Like, I I can't not do this. I don't care how I get across the finish line. I have to get across it. And we drove down to Georgia with my foot on the dash of the truck and an ace bandage.
This obviously this race meant a lot to you. You were very motivated to get through it.
Mhm.
Why do you feel like that? Why do you think that, at that time, at that point in your life, that getting through that race and kind of proving to yourself something was so important to do, like at that moment?
I think really and truly, I didn't want to go through the training again. It
Fair.
was it was
Totally fair. It's
hard.
long, yeah.
It is. And I thought, this is the perfect time. I'm hopefully gonna get a job next year. So, I'm gonna be a full-time employee and training for a marathon. I didn't know if I could do it. And so I
Mm,
thought if I don't do it now, I don't know if I'll ever get to do it. And so that was not a good mindset to have, but it was the one that was in the back of my mind. And so I know it's never recommended to run on an injury. Like I know that, and I didn't want to do that. But I was just praying, like, please let my foot magically heal itself so that I can do this race because I put so much time into this. I don't want it to be for nothing.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that in a way because I know it's not for nothing. The training journey for a marathon is so transformative in so many ways. So even if you end up not running the race that you plan, you've accomplished so much before the race even starts. But I was so determined. It's like, I have to do this. I have to finish this race.
Yeah. Yeah, got it. Cool. Well, let's get to race day. So you were traveling in, so there was some
Mhm.
logistics. Were you there like the day before, the day of? What or obviously not the day of, but like did you go in a couple days before, the day before? What did travel look like for you?
It was great for me. I didn't have to drive. My husband drove all the way. But we got in there Thursday night and we stayed a little bit out of Savannah. And then Friday and Saturday night, we had a hotel that was pretty close to the race location. And so Friday, we got there early for the expo. And I highly recommend that to anyone who is at least doing the Every Woman's Marathon this year. They, and I'm sure they'll adjust for what happened last year, but they sold out of a lot of stuff really
Mm,
early. So they sell it online as well, but if you're looking like, hey, I want to wear the jacket after the race, try to get there as
go
early as you
early.
can.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. So we did the expo for a couple hours, went with my foot wrapped. I don't know if people were looking like she's gonna run tomorrow with that thing on. How is she gonna do that?
Yeah.
And they even had a vendor that had some sort of like special KT tape. And she goes, I'll tape your foot for you. And she did, but I felt so bad. It's like, I'm so sorry you have to touch my foot. Like I just felt bad, but it was great. And then we just chilled the rest of the day. I didn't want to be on my feet too much.
Smart.
Especially with my foot acting up, I didn't want to be walking around any more than we had to, which was kind of sad in a way because Savannah's so pretty. I love to go down to the Riverwalk area and just I like to sightsee too on foot and just walk around, look at the architecture. But I was very like, okay, no, that's not the purpose of this trip. The purpose is the race, and I have to get to tomorrow morning and be physically able to do this. So we went to the hotel, and I always bring my own food and stuff
I do the
because I
same.
never do. You?
Yeah.
We brought this huge Tupperware thing of spaghetti and we heated it up in the microwave in the hotel room and we had our dinner and we're in bed by like 8:30 or 9, which
Nice.
9 is late for me the night before a race. I try to make it like 8 or 8:30 at the latest, but it's lights out. We're going to sleep. Wake up
Yep.
is 4 o'clock in the morning.
Nice. Yeah. No, I do the
Hmm.
same thing. I with food, I sometimes I'll like find something similar to go out to dinner, but for breakfast and for
Hmm.
coffee, I always bring my own. I'm like, I'm not messing around with any of this hotel coffee. Um,
Same.
cool. So yeah, so morning of, I'm sure you're feeling pretty nervous. We get to the start line. When you were lining up, did you go like I guess how early did you show up? What was the start line experience like? I've heard really positive things about every women's marathon, but yeah, walk us through like what the energy was like, what the start line was like, all that good stuff.
It was amazing. There were so many people there. Prior to this, the biggest race I had done was the Nashville Rock and Roll, and there were probably still more people at the Nashville race, but this race felt like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here, but not in a bad way. The
Yeah.
Nashville race kind of made me like, oh gosh, there's a lot of people.
Too
I don't know
many.
if I,
Yeah.
yeah, but everyone was so happy. The vibe, it was incredible. Like everyone was so excited, and I was excited too. Like I woke up and I was able to stand on my foot. Like nothing hurt. I was like I was just shocked. Like okay, this is amazing. Thank you God because if my foot hurt, I don't know how today was gonna go.
Yeah.
But the start line was literally electric. Just so much noise and music and people encouraging one another, and it was just so exciting, amazing experience, even just at the start line before the race even started. And I remember right before I got into the corral for my group, I was wearing a jacket because it was kind of chilly. And at the last possible second, I took it off and I threw it to Zach because I was like, I'm not going to need this. I'm going to warm up, I hope.
Yeah.
Which later on, I'm glad I did because it got pretty warm on some stretches. But the start line itself was just incredible. They released us in waves. I want to say every minute they let another group go. And so the group in front of you would like be running and raising their arms, and you're like, okay, we're next,
You
we're gonna do
next.
this.
Yeah.
And it was such a moment of like, I made it. Like, I did not think I was gonna make it. I'm here. I'm gonna give this race my all. I don't know what's gonna happen fully, but I'm here. This was my goal, was to make it to the race, and the rest is really just a celebration of the 5 months of really hard work that I've put in for this.
Totally. Yeah, that's such a good feeling to show up and be like, okay, like I'm here. There's nothing else I can do. Like let live. Well, let's go, you know?
Mhm.
So race starts. I'll let you choose how you want to break it down, but maybe like touch on the first half. How was the first half?
The first half was really good. My plan was at mile 10 and 20, Zach was going to refuel me on fuel and water. And bless him, he rented a bike to keep up with me throughout the race. And so he can meet me at those
He's a
spots.
trooper. I love it.
He is. I think he probably put in more work that day than I did, trying to like locate where I was going to be, make sure he was there in time.
It's
And he
hard
even
work.
surprised me. It is. He's amazing. At mile 7, I was running and I heard a, yeah, go Emily, and I looked over and it was him.
Oh,
I was like, you're not supposed to be here yet, but I love that you're here. That's
yeah,
a
it's a
great
great
surprise.
surprise. Yeah.
Mhm. It The motorcycle gang that they had at the first mile was like one of the things that really stands out to me in the first half, because I used to ride myself, and so I
Oh,
heard the
cool.
engines and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really badass.
Love
Like, you
that.
rock. It was amazing. And they had just so many opportunities for the runners. Like, they would run out and back, but we'd be crossing paths at the same time, and we'd be high-fiving each other, and it was so supportive. I really felt like everyone was like, we were on a big team, everyone was
Yeah.
supporting each other. And I've not had that in a race before. Like, people are happy typically in a race, but this kind of like camaraderie and positivity, I was really like taken aback in a good way of, wow, this is amazing. For a first marathon experience, 10 out of 10 would recommend the Every Woman's Marathon.
Yeah, I've heard really amazing things about it. I mean, and it's more than just like a women's race is what I've heard, and obviously you can fill in the gaps. But what I've heard is it's more, everybody pins it as like the women's race, but I've heard more so of what you said, of just like a very supportive, very first marathon friendly community around you, and it sounds like that's
Mhm.
holding true for your experience as well.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even like, I know the name is Every Woman's
Hmm.
Marathon, but I didn't even that didn't really factor into my decision of why
Yeah.
I wanted to run it. Really, what drew me was it was so much more affordable than the majors, and the time limit was way more realistic too. It was 7
Totally.
hours and 45 minutes. And I thought, okay, for a first marathon, when I have no idea what my pace is going to be or what's going to happen, this is the perfect setup. And between those, the beginning factors of why I chose the race, combined with just the atmosphere and the crowd support they had, was amazing. I mean, those are all just great factors to take into account if anyone's deciding, like, should I do this marathon? Should I do another one? This one is incredible. They had bands stationed throughout the course, a marching band at Savannah State University that we ran through. It just, between the support that they had planned and then just the support from family members and friends who were on the sidelines, they had support pretty much the whole way through, e- until you hit about like mile 18 or 19. But the first half was incredible.
Love that.
I actually, this might be kind of odd. I signed myself up for the text alerts that they'll send you like during a race. Like, if your family wants to
Oh,
get
sure,
signed up
yeah.
for those,
Yeah.
I signed myself up for them so I can see what's coming through. And there was an issue. I don't know what happened, but I was probably like a mile and a half out from the halfway mark. And I saw a text come in that said, Emily is at the halfway point running an 11 something pace. And I got my phone out and I texted my mom. I was like, that's wrong. I'm not halfway. Like, I'm not running that fast.
Yeah.
But other than that, that was like the only hiccup that happened in the first half.
Yeah. Hey, at least it was get favoring you on the faster side, right? It wasn't
I
wasn't
know.
adding
Yeah.
time. uh,
Yeah, really.
That's funny. So yeah, so halfway point, everything sounds like it was going pretty well. That's great.
Mhm.
What point did you feel like things got hard? Where did you hit the wall? Where did the inevitable kind of set in for the marathon?
Yes. Well, at mile 18, once the crowd support started to die down, that was it wasn't bad mentally. I started to kind of get in my head, and but not in a bad way, more of like, okay, I'm listening to everything around me. I feel okay. Like my joints aren't hurting miraculously. Like I'm good. I'm okay. And then I saw Zach at mile 20 and he sprayed me with sunscreen because it was starting to be a cooker out there.
Hmm.
So he sprayed me with sunscreen, restocked my gels and my baby food because I have kind of a different feeling strategy. It's a cheaper feeling strategy. But he stocked me up. And at mile 20, I got excited because I felt good and I didn't hit the wall. And that was in my head of, okay, I've heard mile 20 is usually the place that people start to hit the wall and start to feel like, oh gosh, okay, I've still a 10K left.
Yeah.
And I got really excited. Like, I haven't hit it. Maybe I'm not going to hit it. I hit it a mile later at 21.
It was coming. It wasn't there yet.
It was. And that was the point where we had actually started to run on the highway and there was no shade. And it was kind of brutal. It wasn't as bad as I have or expected, but that was the point where I really started to kind of disassociate and then start to do like runner's math tricks on
Yeah.
myself. I would tell myself, okay, I can run a half mile and then I can walk for a little bit. But I'd get to a half mile and then tell myself, okay, we can keep going another quarter mile. So I'd go another quarter mile and then I'd walk a quarter mile.
Just like bouncing back and forth. It's funny the games that we
Yes.
play with ourselves during those moments, like the negotiations that we make with ourselves when we're trying to just crawl our way. We're like, I know I need to keep moving forward, but how I do that, I'm gonna negotiate with myself for this entire time. It makes
Yes.
sense. Cool. But yeah, I mean, like, so when you hit the wall, it sounds like it was more internal. How was your body feeling? Like with the injuries and everything, anything coming up from your foot or anything like that?
No injuries from my foot. I was starting to feel just overall tired.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in particular like an area of my body that was hurting. My foot actually didn't bother me that entire day.
That's great. You can't ask for anything more
Yeah,
than
I was
that.
so surprised.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact of like, okay, I'm starting to get pretty tired. I was starting to get in my head a little bit too of this is a really far distance. I've never run this far. But on the flip side, that was the cool part of it was after mile 20, I've never run this far. Every single step I take, that's a new distance PR for me. And so that gave me the boost to kind of overcome that. I'm really tired right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we ran through the neighborhood, because after mile 21, may have been 22, we started to go through neighborhoods and someone had a hose that they were just holding it for people to run through. And so that helped because we had just come off a super long strip of the sun blaring down at us and then being reflected back from the asphalt on the highway.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. No, the people who stood outside of their like houses during a race and like have snacks or like think they're the real heroes of those races. I love when we
They
run past
are.
the neighborhoods. It's so fun. Um
They are.
but yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the injury was feeling pretty good. It was all mental.
Mhm.
I think that's totally normal for your first marathon and to have a point where you go like pretty internal and you have to really dig yourself out of it. So I
Mhm.
guess my next question is kind of twofold. Like, what were you saying to yourself to pull through to the finish line? And then what did the finish line feel like?
I was really envisioning the finish the whole time and just telling myself like how good is it going to feel to finish this. This has been my goal for months at this point and I've worked so hard to get here. It's going to feel amazing. Like we're going to be able to have just a huge celebration at the end of this. Like this is a huge accomplishment. And so that really did drive me forward when I was feeling really just like I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do this. And then someone offered me a shot of pickle juice at like mile 25. And I remember hearing from someone that that's a really good, just like electrolyte replenisher.
Hmm.
And I also thought at this point, if it messes me up, it can't mess me up for long because I'm almost done with the race.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. And then after that, we had a final turn and I remember someone saying it's a straight shot from here. And it was incredible. Like I don't even want to cry now, but months of hard work that I didn't know I was going to even make it to the race. And I told myself, kind of like now, like, I can't cry right now. So if I start crying, I can't breathe. And I was already like, I can't breathe, so I can't add more onto that.
Right.
But to see it off in the distance, I can't, it's hard to describe. Like, that's the purpose of a podcast, is to describe it. But it's like, that is literally the finish line for my goals and my hopes, for really kind of just overcoming that thought that I've had growing up of, I'm not athletic. I was able to conquer that, and that feeling of, I did this. This has been months and months of hard work. I didn't even know if I was going to get here, but I did.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm sprinting towards the finish. I know they say don't do that, but I was so energized seeing that mile 26 sign. I was like, I'm going to full send this. I'm going to leave everything out here. And it really transformed how I think about myself. Of, to me, active didn't always mean athletic, but and I never felt like a true athlete. But you don't get to run a marathon and not call yourself an athlete.
Period.
That's
Love that.
exactly.
I love that.
Yes.
Oh, that is so amazing. I wish you could like see the chills all over my body right now. That was great. Thank you for sharing that. That was so great. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think that anybody can perfectly describe the feeling of seeing the finish line and crossing the finish line after
Mhm.
months of work, but not just months of work, because everybody who runs a marathon obviously puts in the work. But like you said, like
Right.
there's so many stories out there of people who are going through things that we could not even fathom crossing that finish line. And it's such a unique experience for each individual person, depending on what you've been through. So you being at a loss for words, it could be potentially emotions, obviously, but like I also think that it's just, that's the experience. You can't put it into words. You
Yes.
have to just go through it yourself, and you have to do it yourself to really understand what it feels like to prove something like that to yourself. Having a background of being active, like you said, and feeling like you needed to prove something to yourself, having it all come to a head all at once, like, oh my gosh, how could you prepare for, how could you like wrap your head around, how can you process that emotion? It's huge. So I totally get where you're coming from, and it's a hard one to describe,
It is. I was definitely like, I was able to rein in the crying until like right as I was crossing the finish line, and then I was ugly crying. Like, my pictures are not photogenic at all. Which part of me is like, oh man, I kind of wish I wasn't making like a face at the end, because that's what's captured and what's framed.
Sure.
But it was just, it's incredible. It really transforms how you view yourself, and these long held doubts that you've had about yourself. It can squash those. I mean, you're doing something that 1% of the population does. 1%, like, there's 99% that doesn't do this, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Everyone can run a marathon, and I think everyone should if they want to, because it will truly change your life.
Totally. I love that. Yeah. If you even have an inkling of an interest in running a marathon, sign up for it. It's something that it's never going to be a perfect time to do it. You're never going to feel ready for it. It's never going to feel like, obviously you had some things that lined up in your life where you said it made sense right now, but you're always going to have something that you can talk yourself out of doing it. So yeah, I 100% agree.
Right.
If you even have like a little bit of an interest in doing it, sign up and see what happens, because there's something so amazing on the other side of it, for sure. Oh,
100%.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That was great. I'm like I said, I have chills. I love hearing finish line stories that are so impactful, and it sounds like this was a really, really impactful experience for you. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
It was. Of course, thank you for letting me. It's I love to talk about it, and just talk about running in general. And Zach, he will always listen, but I feel so bad sometimes. It's like, I know I talk about running a lot, and I want to give you a break. So talk about it to someone else.
Well, hey, my boyfriend feels the same way, and I have a podcast where I talk about it every single weekend, so he's constantly surrounded by it, so I totally get it.
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, thanks again. I think that, I always like to ask for a piece of advice. I think there was a lot of advice that you kind of offered through this, just through your own experience, but if you could think about you at the beginning of your marathon journey, like staring down this entire path in front of you, like what advice would you give somebody like yourself in a situation like that?
I would say kind of a twofold piece of advice is definitely take the recovery that you need. If you feel an injury coming on, don't try and push through it. Actually what I've found out just recently was I took 2 weeks off of running because I felt shin pain coming on, and I'm doing really well now, 3 weeks after the fact. So if you feel an injury coming on, don't feel like, okay, if I miss a run, it's going to derail the whole thing. It's not. I've skipped plenty of runs on the training plan. If there was a run I really didn't want to do, like the thought of doing it would make me want to cry, I'm not going to do it. Like,
Yeah.
don't kill yourself trying to get every single run in because it's not worth it. The other side of that is you can do it. It doesn't have to be a 3:30 or whatever the Boston qualifier time is now. Don't even think about that. That's not important. You can do it. Just have that mental thought of, I know I can do this. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. The reason that only 1% of the population does it is because it is a hard feat.
Yeah.
But you can do it. You just have to want to do it.
Yeah. Love it. That's great. I think, like we said, sign up, take the first step. Everything will fall into place from there.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, sweet. Well, let's wrap up with a few fun questions. We're going to talk a little bit for a few extra minutes after we do the fuel shoe questions afterwards. So if you're interested in staying on and hearing a little bit more, make sure you pop over to the bonus. But for this episode, for our regular listeners, what have you liked for fuel over time?
So I started out with the GU or GU. I don't know if they say the letters or say GU.
Yeah.
The chocolate outrage. I love sugar. It's a blessing and a curse. But it's like chocolate frosting in a packet.
Yeah.
And so I started off with that for the first probably year of running. The only downside of that is it's a really thick consistency. And so when you're trying to huff and puff like I was during a run and trying to get that down, it's really hard. It's really thick. So I switched and started experimenting with the Huma gels. I love those. It's literally like eating fruit jelly or jam in a little packet. And it's way, way not as thick as the GUs. The only downside is that they're kind of pricey. I want to say they're like $2.50 for one pouch. And so what I started doing was experimenting with other like fuels to supplement, so I didn't have to use like 3 Huma gels in an hour. I heard or researched that you need 60 to 90 grams of carb an hour, and then I want to say 300 to 600 milligrams of sodium. Fun fact, I accidentally switched those numbers and was trying to get 600 milligrams of sodium in a run.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, why am I so thirsty? I only did that a couple of times before
you're like, something's wrong
because something has to be wrong.
Right.
But what I started to do to kind of offset the cost of the official gels was I looked at baby food packets in Aldi, and I found one that had like 22 grams of carbs. And so I would do 2 of those an hour and then a Huma gel at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
So I was fueling every 20 minutes, which might sound like it's a lot, but I will get hungry if I don't eat that much during a run. And I knew like once I'm at the point of being hungry, I'm already behind. So I don't want to be behind. So those are my go-tos, is the apple mango baby food from Aldi and Huma gels.
Oh, I love it. I think that's a great way to make your money go a little bit further too with gels, because like you said, they can get pretty crazy expensive. I hear the same thing about candy. Like if you really look at the nutrition labels on candy, they're not so far off from taking a gel. So like experiment.
The nerd clusters.
Yes, period. My mom just told me that she's just switched to the nerd clusters, and I'm like, they got another one. But yeah, I didn't give my disclaimer in the beginning, but like I usually say on every episode, like it's your own fuel is your own journey, fuel is your own experience. Everybody's different. So try a bunch of different things, try the candy, try the baby food, try the gels, figure out what works best for you, and just kind of stick there is usually my best advice with fuel, but I love it. Yeah. Cool. And then shoes. What have you liked for shoes?
Brooks
that's what you said.
And through.
Yeah.
Yes. I started with the Ghost, and that's what I ran the marathon in, but I've just recently switched to the Adrenaline GTS 24 because I felt like my foot was really moving around in the shoe, and that was contributing to the foot pain I had on the bottom of my foot. So I went to a running store over in Asheville, and she just watched me walk for a little bit. She goes, "It's your right foot, isn't it?" Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so that stability shoe, it's perfect for me. I'm open to trying new shoes, but I've tried a couple other ones here and there, just like in the shoe store. And as soon as I put them on my foot, it's an immediate no.
Yeah.
This is not for me. So Brooks Adrenaline, but Brooks Ghost will always be the OG for me.
Great. I love it. Cool. Well, thanks again for walking through your story. Before we wrap up here, is there anything else coming up next for you? Like, are you training for anything right now? Anything on the horizon? Any goals that you're working towards? What's coming up next?
Yes, I have 2 more half marathons scheduled for this fall.
Cool.
I was originally gunning for a sub 2 in September, but with the injury with my shins that popped up recently, that's going to get pushed maybe till October, maybe till next year. I'm not sure. I don't want to overdo it trying to chase this goal that it is attainable at some point. I just don't know if it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. But overall for the marathon, I know a lot of people when they first finish the marathon, they're like, I'm never going to do this again. I didn't have that thought. It was more of, it was hard, but I want to feel that sense of accomplishment again. So in the back of my mind, I have Chicago 2026 kind of simmering on the back burner.
Nice.
Haven't really done anything else other than just kind of look at when the entry period is.
Yeah.
But I would be lying if I said there wasn't another marathon kind of wiggling around in the back of my brain.
Yeah, for sure. You can stay posted on my Chicago experience.
Yes.
I'm running it for the first time, but yeah, I think the out of the world majors, that's been one of the easier ones for me to get into. Just like with charity, I'm running charity. My mom pulled lottery, so yeah, I think that would be a great one. That's exciting.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna be following your journey, so I want to get all the tips and tricks.
Oh, I'll try my best. I know a lot of amazing Chicago runners, so if you do want some like people to bounce ideas off of, I can definitely point you to them. But that's super exciting. Yeah, I'm glad that you're going to revisit the marathon distance. It'll all come to you in its time. You know, I think it sounds like you've got some half marathon goals to accomplish first, so that's very exciting.
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, if anybody wants to follow along with you in your running journey, where can they find you?
I'm on Facebook, but I don't use it as much. So it's primarily Instagram and TikTok. It's Rocky Top Runner because I am in Tennessee, so gotta support the Vols. Rocky Top.
Love it.
But Rocky Top Runner on IG and TikTok.
Cool. Well, I'll link it in the show notes. But thank you again for coming on and telling your story. We're going to keep the cameras going for another few minutes with some bonus questions. But for regular listeners, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the My First Marathon podcast. For more stories, tips, and resources, head to myfirstmarathonpodcast.com. And if you want access to bonus episodes, exclusive resources, and extra support for your training, make sure you check out the community at myfirstmarathonpodcast.com/exclusives. You can also follow along with us on socials, Instagram and TikTok. That's at myfirstmarathonpod. If you want to follow along with my personal journey, that's at tay.says. Whether you're training, recovering, or just thinking about signing up, you belong here. I'm so excited that you're here, and we'll see you on the next one.